Hey y'all, it's Rhea, and I'm here with a book review on Shari Lapena's second novel, which is A Stranger in the House. So, I'll start by giving you a little synopsis of what goes on in the book, and then go on to my actual review. Tom and Karen Krapp have been married almost 2 years. They have a nice house in the suburbs, and Karen is best friends with their neighbor across the street, Bridget. Things are going very well. Until one day. Karen's in the kitchen making dinner for Tom, who's expected home any minute. Suddenly, she hears the phone ring. It's a call she hoped she'd never get. Upon hearing the contents of the call, she forgets to lock the door and runs out of the house. She jumps in the car and drives to a sketchy part of town. She does something there, and on the way back, she crashes into a utility pole. It's very out of character for her. She wakes up in the hospital and realizes she doesn't remember anything. Well, she remembers her life, but not the night of the accident. She's left with a ton of questions, and now caught in the middle of a murder investigation. It's really interesting to watch the developments in the investigations that go on regarding Karen's accident and a nearby murder, and watching the characters spiral as everything goes from pretty good to miserable. As I started to read, I thought that I knew from page 2 what the story was and how the book was going to play out, and I was a little disappointed because it was so predictable. As I kept going, there were so many twists and turns, almost one in every chapter, that it got really hard to keep track of what I thought was going to go on, which was great, because twists are what I live for in a mystery or thriller novel. There are so many that by the time you reach the end of the book, what you thought was going to happen in the beginning is like completely different than what actually ends up happening. Even to the very last chapter, there is a conclusion that you come to eventually, like, oh, so this is what happens in the book. And then everything is turned upside down. So I really like that about this book, how many twists and turns there are. It's definitely a page turner. I read this thing in one sitting, just from start to end. I'd say it's about 300 pages, and it was very, very good. Lapena's writing style is really interesting because it's not as detailed as the writing style of other authors such as Anthony Doerr, but it focuses more inward and then outward. Her writing is very concise and clear, and it's interesting because she drops a lot of subtle hints in her writing, foreshadowing what's going to happen, and then you come to a chapter in a little bit where something happens and you go, oh, so that's what that was saying. Some people have issues with writing that isn't detailed, and I think that most of the time I wouldn't really like a book that's as concise as this book is, because I kind of live for the details, the gory details, the dreamy details, all of them. I like the writing style that has you dizzy because the writing is just so excellent, because there are so many adjectives and every little thing is explained, and it's explained vividly. While this isn't explained as vividly as, say, All the Light We Cannot See or Winter Garden by Kristen Hanna, it's concise in a way that's good for it, because the book focuses inward on the feelings and the dread that the characters are experiencing, and the to-the-pointness of the book kind of helps it with being dreadful and anxiety-inducing, which is a good thing for a thriller novel. Karen and Tom Krapp are honestly kind of boring when you start the book. It's like they don't really have many certain character traits. And even towards the end of the book, I felt like I didn't really know where to lie with Karen and Tom. because both of them, while the author focuses on their feelings and the feelings they go through with the story, and of course their background and everything, but it doesn't really seem like you can give them any character traits that stand out. For example, you could say that Hermione Granger from the Harry Potter series was very clever, she was brilliant, and things like that. You could say that Harry was courageous or other things. Like, most characters have certain character traits, but I didn't really see that with this novel. Karen and Tom, it doesn't seem obvious to me what their character traits are. It seems more like they're just people who went through a really bad time, but I didn't really see much character development in it. I was a little bit disappointed by the lack of character development, but besides that, I liked the plot line. I think the characters could have had a little more work, but the plot line was amazing. The twists and turns were great. Overall, I'd give this book a 3.5 out of 5 stars. It was a very good book. I just think that it was stronger in some areas than others. And those areas that they were stronger in were the plot line, and she could have given a little more attention to detail with the book overall, not just the writing style. So, I did like this book. It was really good, and I'm hoping to read some more of Shari Lapena's book. If you like this book review, please hit the like button and subscribe, and I'll see y'all later.